Tanya Lashinsky from Montecristo Travels, and this is, well, Montecristo. We've taken the video outside today because, well, it's winter, and one of the biggest questions we're getting these days is what do I do if I'm going somewhere really, really cold with my dog? Lucky for you, we know a lot about that. We live in Ottawa, Canada, so it goes down to -40 over here, so, come February, so we're well positioned to answer the question. So we're going to talk to you about snowsuits and what to look for in a snowsuit. They have to be soft, they have to be warm. Most people make the big mistake of buying them too big for their dog, which defeats the purpose as well. So we're going to get into that a little bit. As you can see, I'm outside. We've been walking for about an hour? Yeah, we've been walking for about an hour. He's still really good to go. Still warm. If you do have to stop and you know you're going to stop along the way, I recommend you bring a nice warm bag or a sling or a backpack of some sort, and a hand warmer where you can then break the hand warmer and put your dog inside the bag and warm them up. We do that when we go snowshoeing. Yes, this little guy goes snowshoeing. So don't keep your little guys indoors all winter. There's lots out there that's going to allow you to take them out and enjoy the winter wonderland that happens to be, well, that's what we've got for about 4 to 5 months of the year over here, so we'd be cooped up for a really long time if we hadn't learned to adapt. Why dress up your dogs? Obviously, if you have a husky or a dog that's designed for the cold, it's not necessary, but we talk about the little dogs and the really little guys, like Chihuahuas in particular, that are designed to live in countries that are actually really hot. Mexico being where this guy would actually be meant to live is a dry sort of heat, so their fur is actually designed to repel heat. So for those of you out there who are anti-dressing your dog up, try to understand that some of us are doing it so that our dogs can stay active. In my particular case, the snowsuit is a necessity, or Monty would be inside for 5 months of the year. So I highly recommend that you look into a snowsuit. One thing that I'm going to mention right away is make sure you put a D-ring on your snowsuit. I see a lot of people putting a harness on top of the snowsuit, which restricts mobility even further than the snowsuit already does. I don't think that that's necessary. Find yourself a pretty decent tailor. They're everywhere. You can find D-rings anywhere. Your tailor might even already have one, or you can take one off a piece of a harness or something that you're not using anymore and have them put it on the snowsuit so you don't have to keep layering. Layering is going to restrict their mobility further, and the more you restrict their mobility, the less likely they are to want to go out and enjoy the weather and the snow with you. So here's to our first outdoor video, and let's get going. So we're outside, and I thought I would talk as we walk. Proof is in the pudding, and you can see for yourself that Montecristo is thoroughly enjoying the winter wonderland that has become our park. So let's talk a little bit about the boots he's got on, because that's a big one that makes a lot of people go "Aww" as we walk by. They're kind of necessary. They're from a company called Pawz, P-A-W-Z. I'll put the link below, and they look like little balloons. So Pawz, what are the mistakes I see out there? Well, for starters, again, people seem to buy them too big for their dogs, and so they keep falling off. I keep an extra one in my pocket, but honestly, we have yet to lose one along the way. What I like about the Pawz is that although they're very minimal, they basically keep his paws from getting those little ice clumps between the pads, and they also basically just keep the salt off his feet. They do, however, because there's no sole, allow him to keep full contact with the ground. Unlike a lot of boots that have a thick sole, which could be good, I suppose, but in his particular case, Monty prefers something that, I can hear snowblowers everywhere, they basically allow him to feel still connected to the ground, which is important for him. So give them a try. We're not sponsored by them or anything like that, but we have tried a lot of different boots and booties and things like that. These stay on. We've even kept one pair for an entire winter, so that's a lot of usage for something that's relatively inexpensive. So those are the Pawz. They're great. I will go indoors later to show you how to put them on or how we put them on. You're going to have to find your own trick. They're a little bit tricky to put on, but I find that they're completely worth it. So we're taking another little break to chat to you about what to look for in a snowsuit for your dog. We like to try to go gender neutral, but that's just a personal preference. You can do whatever you want. What you really want to look for is something warm and fuzzy on the inside that'll really help them retain the heat. Again, you're trying to avoid layering if you can. Now, speaking about layering though, you may need to. We find that a little extra wool sweater underneath is a good way to go. What you could do then, it's the harness on top of the snowsuit that becomes a mobility issue. What you look for is something that's going to go all the way to the rear. Try not to buy a snowsuit that's too big. It's really tempting, but try not to. You want to make sure that they have that sort of warm cocooning effect around them. Don't get it too tight either, obviously. So do make sure that the mobility is fully there, but that you haven't bought a suit that's one size too big. I see a lot of that going on, and what happens is the heat escapes and defeats the purpose of the snowsuit, and the dogs are still cold. You want it to be really soft. There's some great snowsuits out there, but they are too stiff. And what happens with the really stiff fabrics is again, it's a mobility issue. The dogs end up hating it. They sort of sit there like stickmen and they're frozen. So you want to make sure that they're super, super soft. You should be able to crunch it completely up into your hand. That's what you're looking to do. So really soft D-rings. Make sure it's not too big or not too small. Make sure that it fits your dog properly. And the other thing that you want to look for is something that you can wash. There are some really beautiful snowsuits out there, but if they're not machine washable, I'm not going to sort of dry clean my dog's snowsuit, especially since we have a salt issue here. And Montecristo is really, really close to the ground like most dogs are. So what happens is you end up having to wash those suckers almost every second day, depending on the salt situation. So you don't want something that's too beautiful and too pretty and too dainty that you're going to have to dry clean. A word on the hoods on a lot of snowsuits. Montecristo is not a big fan of having his head covered. Some dogs are cool with hats and some dogs are not. I don't know if it's a big ear situation for the Chihuahuas or what makes it one dog prefer it and one dog hate it. But in our particular case, I actually like the hoods because the hoods act as a sort of a neck warmer for him. But it also means that I have to make sure that any snowsuit I buy has a way of holding that hood back. Okay everyone, so taking things indoors for a short while because I didn't want to do this outside where it was too cold, but this is basically what the little snowsuit looks like when it's off the dog. Quick tip for putting the snowsuit on your dog. It's actually better to put the front paws on first. Trust me, I tried the other way around and it's not pretty. So front paws first. Okay, Monty. Yeah, I know, we just went out. And then the back paws. There you go. He's wondering why we're putting the suit back on. Okay, and then what I like to do to make things easier is I like to flip Monty about and put him on his back on my lap. Obviously this has taken a little bit of training, but he's quite comfortable with this process now. One of the things you want to make sure when you're buying a snowsuit is that you've got a snap button system instead of a zipper or Velcro system. The reason for that is if you, like me, have a dog with long hair, long fur, zippers and Velcros and long fur are not a good combination. So what I do is this, after you put the fur down, and you snap him in, which leaves him in the perfect position for his boots because his little paws are ready to go and he's already nice and cozy and corralled in here. So I was talking about the boots. We use the paws. This is what they look like when they're not on. They basically are like a little balloon. And as you can see, he's ready to go. You just take the balloon at the opening and feel free to give it a good stretch. They're not going to break on you. It's not like an actual balloon. They're a little bit sturdier than that. So you can get really good stretch here. So go ahead and put your back into it. And then you just slip it on the paw. And that's it. They're on. That's all there is to it. Now to take them off, you may want to break the seal. Sometimes they're nice and snug when they're the right size. They're good and snug. So you want to just let some air in at the top, and you can hear it. There's like a little sound, and then you can pull it off, and that's it. A good tip, make sure your dog's claws are nice and short. If your dog's claws are too long and you try to put the boot on, it bends the claw back and it can hurt your dog. So for Montecristo and myself, enjoy, go out there, have a fabulous winter, and don't carry your dog around or keep them cooped up, there's no reason why you can't take them out and have a good time and enjoy the winter. He's kind of itching to go. He's like, why are you carrying me right now? I want to go out and have some fun. So small, sure, but they can totally handle it as long as you give them the little extra help they need. So a snowsuit and something to protect their paws, and they're usually good to go. So have fun, enjoy your winter wonderland, everyone. Happy New Year. Bye.